Well, good evening and welcome to About the Valley. My guest tonight is Dan Girard of G9
G9 Financial.
Financial.
G9
Yes.
Financial, located in Millbury. I'm the managing partner. Yeah, we've been in Millbury since 2008.
Ah,
Started my career back in 1999.
time flies, doesn't it?
It does time fly. I used to be the youngest in the room. Now I am no longer the youngest in the room.
It is amazing how fast it. But you know, I had someone on. No, I was talking to someone that I should say I do so many different interviews. I do a radio interview with someone, and in fact, he is on this week. Polati, Polati Graphics.
hmm
And he has a slogan, you'll never work a day in your life if you like what you do.
I agree with that.
And it's true, that's the way I've always been. I've always been in sales, I love sales, and, you know, time goes by like nothing.
It goes quick. It does go quick.
But you're also involved in a lot of community events, things.
I am, Harry. And by the way, Harry, thank you for this opportunity to come down here today and chat with you. I really appreciate it. We are, in our firm, we are very big in giving back to the community. We believe the community gives to us. It's important for us to give back. From volunteering on local boards, such as the former Alternatives, the Chamber Board, as a couple examples. We also offer community events. We have actually a community event coming up May 15th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Ray's True Value in Millbury on Howe Ave,
Yes.
where we're holding a community shredding event. We bring in a truck from Pellegrino's Trucking. They have this 2-ton vehicle that comes in and shreds your documents right on site. And it's pretty cool. You drive up, we take your stuff out of your trunk if you'd like, or if you want to put the stuff in, your materials in the machine itself, you can. And it's all shredded right there and then.
That
And
machine is so huge
it's,
that you can put it in a huge, you know, I got a shredder at home. You limit how many pages you can put in at a time or it's
right,
going to
no,
jam.
yeah.
That machine can take a stack.
Yeah, so this machine you actually fill up a bucket.
Yes.
And then it takes the bucket and then rolls it up and shreds it right there on site.
Yeah.
And that event is free to the community, but we link it to a local charity. There's
okay.
a young boy who sadly passed in 2013, Owen Carrigan. He was in first grade at Elmwood Street School in Millbury when this happened. It was a sudden passing due to basically a food poisoning, and
I remember reading about that.
yeah, very sad. And we set this up really for the family, where and you know, when he initially passed, there was a lot of fundraising efforts around to carry on his memory, and then it just a lot of charities, they kind of gain a lot of steam in the beginning and slow down. So this was an opportunity for us to kind of hold that flag.
Yeah.
And continue that going forward. So every year that we've held our shredding event, we're having our 8th year this year. It's again, no cost to the community, but we kindly ask for a donation
Yeah.
to the Owen Carrigan Sports
I mean,
Memorial Scholarship.
You're saving people a lot of money. If you go to a company and get shredded, it's not that cheap.
No,
And it's an important thing to do because as we go through life, we accumulate a lot of paperwork.
absolutely.
And there's a lot of very, confidential stuff that's on there that you don't want getting out, especially today with the internet.
Yep.
I mean, you hear about people stealing your property.
Absolutely. Identity theft.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. It's a big thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Stealing your credit.
Yep.
And you always think they take out credit cards. All you got to do is have your Social Security and your date of birth.
Yeah, we've had people come with, I mean, decades of tax returns
Yeah.
that are no longer needed. Decades of bank statements, investment statements,
Yeah.
you name it, they have it. Again, they just drop it in the bucket, it gets shredded, and we kindly just ask for, a small donation, $20, $30, $40, $50, whatever it may be, that they feel that they're comfortable giving. And the money goes to Owen's family is there. his mom, dad, grandfather, aunts, uncles, and it's a great way for them to interact with the community. They collect the money, and it goes directly to them and to the bottom line. And then what they do with those dollars is they've given away scholarships to high school seniors in Millbury and I believe other schools in the Blackstone Valley. In addition, they'll help support local sports programs. I know last year they gave to Sutton Little League, and years past I know it's been Millbury Little League, youth soccer programs throughout the valley in memory of Owen, which so it's a great way for them to give back in his memory to those local youth programs.
Yeah, and those youth programs are expensive to run.
They sure are. They sure
Especially
are.
equipment costs are unbelievable.
Yeah.
I know we do it. I see it here.
I've been for many years on the. Although I recently just stepped down as my son aged out, but I was on the Millbury Little League board for many years, and no, it's not cheap. Between
No.
uniforms and equipment, and
And
it gets
then
expensive.
insurance on top of that. I mean, today you have to cover yourself. When I was a kid, they never thought about insurance, but
No.
times have changed.
Times are changed. No, absolutely, they're changed.
Yeah, and equipment cost back when I was a kid was nothing compared to what it is
Well,
today.
I mean, a baseball bat. A couple of years ago, the Little League baseball changed the rules, and bats had to have a called USA baseball sticker on them.
Oh.
They made a certain way. What that basically meant, though, is every bat before that is no good.
Yeah,
No
right,
good. No
right.
good. So I know, even, as a league, we purchase some bats, and kids are out there purchasing bats. But no, they're not cheap. You're talking minimum $100,
Yeah.
if not more. And some are $300-$400. So, and it's only youth baseball.
Yeah,
So
and
it's crazy.
the baseballs alone you go through.
Yes. Yes.
It's
It's a
like
lot.
the major leaguers.
It's a lot. Yes, it is.
And of course, in Millbury is the one company that makes the yarn.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I interviewed them. That's quite an operation. S&D Spinning.
S&D Spinning. Yep, S&D Spinning. A couple of years back, Millbury Little League hosted the state finals tournament for the
Oh.
state of Massachusetts, and their building, S&D Spinning's building, was our logo for the
that's pretty
event.
appropriate.
Yeah, for the event, and we actually had the logo stamped on the baseballs themselves.
Oh,
Pretty neat.
yeah. 'Cause I don't think we realize they are the sole source of the yarn for all the major league baseballs. In fact, all the baseballs,
Yes, they are. Yeah, they are.
because they have a special formula that they use that no one else has.
No, yeah, located right here in the valley.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is amazing.
Not many people know that.
No, there is a lot of stuff goes on in the valley that people don't realize.
Absolutely, it's a busy place.
Yeah, and you see more of it being on the board, the chamber board.
Yes, yeah. I was on the chamber board for a number of years, and between the Blackstone Valley Educational Hub coming in, which was a big deal.
Yes.
I know Jeannie Hebert of the chamber worked extremely hard on putting that together, and it's come to fruition, which is great.
And that's something unique. There's no other chamber in the country that has done that.
That is
That was a first. Now, there's a number of them that want to copy it,
Mhm.
which is good because it's a great deal and it brings jobs, it brings needed employees for some of the businesses in the valley.
Absolutely. They focus on manufacturing, which is
Yeah,
manufacturing is like a lost art out there.
yeah. And it's another thing which surprises me, how much manufacturing goes on in this valley.
Absolutely, a ton, an absolute ton.
We don't think about it, but you don't even notice them.
No, you don't. No, you don't. But if you drive, you drive around Blackstone Valley in any town, there's a lot of these old buildings, mill
Yeah.
buildings. Some of them have been converted to other businesses, but many of them are still active.
Oh, yeah. But you have a lot of the mills that have multiple businesses in them.
Absolutely.
Whereas one time there were probably one giant woolen mill or something like that. Now there are multiple, all these
Yes.
startup companies.
Yeah, we have a great one in Millbury itself. Felter's Mill, which was a
Yes.
mill for years. The gentleman, Gianni Romeo, who owns the building my office is located in, which is the old Masonic Lodge in the center of town. They took on the project of redoing that, and now I think there's over 20, 25 businesses within that Felter's Mill, which
Yeah.
is a great repurposing of that
And
property.
that's, it's retail as well as manufacturing, right?
Absolutely, retail, offices, office spaces. It's an ice cream shop. There's a lot to it.
That's another thing we're doing in the valley that it's a great idea. We're doing mixed uses.
Mhm.
You know, it might have been manufacturing one time, but now it's a mixed use of manufacturing, retail, office,
Absolutely.
and in some cases even residential.
100%. 100%. And yeah, I think we'll continue to see that trend.
And, you know, being on a planning board, I'm very interested in it. And I think it's a great concept to go with, mixed use. Yeah.
I would agree. I would agree. You know, the office space world is, I think the pandemic is changing it.
Yes.
I think you go out
Yeah,
5,
that's-
10 years from now, I think that what was office space may become residential space. I think,
Yeah.
you know, that's my own two-bit opinion. Who knows if I'll be right about that, but
Well, that's what happened. Manufacturing shrunk on what its needs are
absolutely.
because of technology and uh, people. It used to be a manufacturer probably made everything he needed. That was common with a lot of these, like the White Machine Works.
Sure.
They made every part. They made everything they needed to build the machine. Now companies do is they have different people making different things and then they assemble it. So you don't need as much space.
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
But you need always these manufacturers to make the ground rules.
Yep. Yeah. So it's an interesting space. You know, I look back. I grew up in the city of Worcester, and I feel fortunate
Yeah.
to, you know, as you're raising a young family, who knows where life will take you, right?
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely fortunate to end up in the valley, be able to plant the seed of my business in the valley. We're big in helping those in our community, giving back to our community. And I look back at, you know, my career, which is, you know, 22 years at this point, and still plenty of runway in front of me. Plenty of runway in front of me, but we've been very lucky and fortunate to be in that spot.
But one thing about, no matter what you do, you gotta think of the fact that one day I'm gonna retire.
One day.
So that's where you come in.
Correct, yes. We are G9 Financial. We evolved out of the former company, which was Girard Financial Group. And the reason why we evolved and had a rebranding was we grew. We grew. We have a team
Yep.
of 7 now, and come to the realization we needed to felt it was in the best interest of our company growth to take my last name off the front of the awning, we'll call it, and rebrand to G9 Financial. And the G9 is, people say, well, how did you get there? What is that? And the G really is the evolution of Girard Financial Group as we grew. I wanted to really basically keep our logo to a degree. And the 9 was just a part of what we do, which is helping those that we serve through the 9 stages of financial life.
Yes.
Some of those stages, they're all documented on our website, but it's raising a new family. It's buying a home. It's changing jobs,
Yeah.
changing families. Who knows? It's preparing for retirement. You're in retirement. What's that income plan look like? What's that game plan look like? And that is legacy planning. You know, what happens when you're gone? What's the legacy you leave behind? And we do our best to, again, help those who want to be helped in all those areas.
That's all important. Like you say, what you leave behind. That's extremely important for the people who are going to inherit, because does it come to does the government get most of it? Did it get a smaller percent? Because there's so many laws and so many ways around that you got to have a company like yours that knows what's going on to be able to do it. You can't do it on your own.
No, it's difficult to do on your own. Of course, they have plenty of do-it-yourselfers out there that want to do it themselves, but you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
That's for sure. And what we really serve is, with our clients that we work with, is we're their financial quarterback.
There's people want to wire their own house, but who knows if they don't burn it down?
That's
You know,
right. That's right.
I always feel you go to the experts, you're going to get it done right.
Correct.
And you handle, like I say, from the beginning right up till the end, and
To
you
the
can
end.
take it at any stage that they're in.
Correct. And that's how we approach it. And again, I look back and have been fortunate. I got involved in my profession by someone, a mentor to me, pointing me in the right direction. And I look back at that and not knowing any better as a 23, 24-year-old recent college graduate. And it wasn't easy. You got to grind it out. But if you do it right by the people you work with, everything else kind of falls into place.
I mean, there's so many laws, just when the IRS are crying out loud, and they don't even know most of it.
Well, calling the IRS is good luck with that. You might be on
Right.
hold a while.
Yeah, I know. And then they tell you that even if they give you a certain answer, don't rely on it because it could be wrong.
That's right. Yeah, they're not taking responsibility.
Right, they don't take it even for the answers they give you.
That's right. No,
But,
that's right.
But you got into it about 20 years ago, and that's when it really started to become important, and that's because things changed.
They do. They do.
Years
change.
ago, you went to work for a company, and you might stay there for 30 years or more even, and you got a pension,
Yep.
and your Social Security, and that was enough to make it through. But now companies don't offer 'em pensions like they used to. Some might offer something of a pension, but for the most part, unless you work for a municipal,
Correct.
Government, or a pretty large corporation that still gives a pension plan, which I very few of, I guess.
Very few. Very few. A lot of them gotten away
Uh,
from that.
Yeah, there's not too many places you get a pension anymore.
Well, the onus is on you as the individual.
Or if you're in a union, there's still union pensions out there.
There are. Yep. Yes, there are. For the most part, yes.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're still you're responsible for you.
But with the tax benefits that there are to 401s,
Hmm?
you're better off to also look at that on top of it.
You know, people ask sometimes, how much should I be saving? And the answer is, if you're doing something, you're on the right path,
Yep,
which is great. It's better than zero.
yes.
If you could do as much as you can till it hurts.
And you can be amazed, if it's done right and invested right, even a small amount can be a big amount when you retire.
Absolutely, absolutely. People are, what's the right amount I should have? The right amount you should have is as much as you can.
Yeah.
As much as you can.
And then again, when you retire, the way you invest your retirement can make a world of difference too.
Sure.
Because let's
Sure.
face it, today, Social Security came in the mid-30s,
Correct.
mid-1930s. Now we're in a new century.
Right.
We're almost 100 years into it, for crying out loud.
We are.
At the time, the retirement age was 65.
What was the mortality age?
It was like 62 or something.
That's correct.
Yeah,
It was
so-
low.
They figured that, maybe you'll get it, but maybe you won't. But if you don't, the government's ahead because now we got that money in the bank.
Correct. Correct.
But over the years, now, we're talking the average age is in the 80s.
Yes, I believe it's 86.
Yeah.
Thereabouts.
It goes
Give or take a
down
year.
sometimes, but most of the time it's going up.
Yeah, and that's due to medical technologies and
Yeah.
people just living longer.
So
Correct.
the average person can figure at least 20 years of retirement.
Yes, most likely. Most
Yeah,
likely, all depends again on health and things of that nature.
Yeah,
But
so you want to make sure you've got a nest egg that's going to keep you going for 20 years.
no doubt, no doubt.
And that's where you really need to work.
Yeah,
with
you can
financial
either
planning.
you got those who want to do it themselves, and again you can drive your own bus.
Yeah,
You just got to know how to shift gears.
right, exactly.
If you don't know how to shift gears, you better hire a bus driver that knows what they're doing.
Yes,
So that as you're driving along that mountain's edge, you're not going off the side.
but you also can, a lot of companies can get a financial planner to help them work out their 401 program.
Absolutely, absolutely. We work in the corporate environment with our corporate clients, but we also do a vast majority of our work is with individuals on a one-on-one basis, helping those. Again, our philosophy is very simple. At the end of the day, it's helping those who want to be helped.
Right.
And if we can help those, great.
But even if you're working with a company, you can work with individuals in the company.
100%, 100%, absolutely.
See, so, and that's another thing that a lot of companies offer now. It used to be the approach, well, you're going to get a retirement and we contribute to it, but now you contribute, but we'll give you something too.
Sure.
So that's another thing people look for. But the biggest factor, I think, is nobody stays with a company all their life.
No,
People move around.
People move around more often than not. Every once in a while, I'll be amazed where I have someone that walks into my office and they've been at a company for 35 years. My own dad worked at
Yep.
the same company for 40-something years. And I used to call him a dinosaur because, in a joking way, obviously, just because guys like him, people didn't do it.
Right, you got a
People
good
didn't do it.
job and you stuck with it.
Yeah. My grandfather worked for the same company, God rest his soul, for over 50 years.
Yep.
It just doesn't happen anymore. And it's just the nature of the environment that we're in. People look for what's best for them and best for their families, and sometimes it's more money or better opportunity somewhere else.
But in some cases, the company goes on, they close.
Sure,
That's been happening a lot too.
sure,
And
absolutely.
technology changes industries a lot.
100%,
And technologies can put companies right out of business.
100%.
And it's advancing so fast now that it happens more often
Well,
than you realize.
you look at this past year, technology changed the way we do business.
Yes.
To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, who would ever thought that people would be working from home?
Right. Working from home, in years past, a lot of my practice of working with the clients that we serve were in person, sitting around a table
Yep.
and understanding, having conversations like this face to face. Over the last 12 months, we still do that from time to time. Obviously, you got to follow the proper protocols that we all live with nowadays. But a lot of it was done by Zoom and getting to know people through Zoom.
Yes.
And doing reviews and connecting people through Zoom. In some ways, it's not as personable, but it is personable. Not the same. You can't shake hands over Zoom. In other ways, it was more efficient. People live busy lives, and
Yes.
they don't always have the time to travel into the office, spend 30 minutes to an hour, and then off they go somewhere else. Some people still want to do that, but other people live busy lives and say, let's jump on that Zoom, let's catch up for half hour, 45 minutes, and then we're off and running. So it's changing. It will change the way we do business going forward. That's for sure.
One thing I don't like about Zoom, and I'm doing a lot of Zoom meetings now because of the planning board and I'm on the community preservation committee,
Sure.
and we're all meeting on Zoom. There's people now that they'll be on Zoom, and I'm talking members of the boards I'm on, that don't even put on the video.
Yeah, video is important.
Yeah, so you don't even see, you read people by looking at them.
100%.
You can't even do that now because everybody's blanked.
Yeah, that's one of the things I do request when we do meet is by Zoom, whether it's a review meeting or in person, or review meeting or initial meeting, I should say. As we're getting to know someone, I just kindly ask out of respect to have your video on so that we can connect.
Right.
And I can see expressions on your face and read between the lines, and so it helps.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you're in sales like me.
Hmm?
And that's what salespeople do.
Right.
You read people's
Yeah.
faces.
Right.
They don't look that interested or.
That's right. It does us no good if I'm talking about something that has zero interest to the people across the table from me.
Exactly.
It really doesn't. But it's our responsibility to those we work with is to put education, concepts, strategies on the center of that table or across that Zoom meeting, and those on the other side, it's their responsibility to take what they want out of that and go with that direction that is best
You
fit
just
for them.
mentioned another thing that's important in financial planning. You have children, you want them to, hopefully they're gonna go to college. Well, they don't have to, today they don't have to, but if they go to a technical school,
Sure.
they gotta have some kind of education after high school.
Hmm.
Because you wanna get into some kind of a field.
Sure.
Well, it costs money.
It sure does. It sure does.
So, when there's just a little thing in there, you're holding them in your arms, that's the time to start planning to put something away.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, people, when should I start? As soon as you can.
Yeah.
As soon as you can is the
Yeah,
answer.
because before you know it, that day is here.
Correct. Yeah, I'm living it. I have a high school senior right now,
Yeah.
and I remember the day she was born like it was yesterday, and
Yeah, it seems like it was just yesterday you've taken her home from the hospital, and now here she's graduating.
graduating and off to school she goes in at the end of August.
Yeah, and we know that higher education is not cheap.
No, it is not cheap. It's quite a obviously it is important. It is not required, but it is important depending on what field you want to get into, and it's an expense.
Yeah, and like I say, even if it's just a technical school of some sort, you're going to have some kind of advanced training.
Oh, 100%.
But if it's a college, God, you're talking a lot of money.
Yep.
And it's 4 years, and then today now you gotta really go for the, your MBA or whatever, your
Yes,
master's.
your masters. Yes, your masters.
know,
which
and-
is just adding on top of it all.
Yeah, I went through it, I mean, I got one of my sons is a physician.
Oh.
So and he went to an Ivy League school, so I got the double whammy.
Yeah, you sure did.
He
You
went
sure
to
did.
Cornell. And,
Great
he-
school.
He had a full boat to UMass. He said, Dad, why would I go to UMass but I can go to Cornell? I've been accepted. I said, because I don't have to pay for
That's
it.
right. That's right.
I told him, I said, wherever he wanted to go. I mean, he worked hard all his life through school.
Yeah, you want the kids work hard. You want to give them every opportunity,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's got to make financial sense also.
Yeah. But that's where you got to, like I say, fortunately I had some put away and I was able to, to get through it.
Yep.
But you get the loans, and that's another thing you got to consider. They're going to make you get loans.
Sure, many of them are
So
absolutely.
you better consider that in your finances, that you're gonna have to pay this out.
100%, right. It's going to be a debt that's going to be owed somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
And you got to,
And
whether
that
you-
can affect when you can retire.
It is, yeah, no doubt. It absolutely can.
Yeah.
People, our lives are dictated by cash flow. That's for sure.
Yeah,
It is. We are dictated by cash flow. The more that comes in, sometimes the more that goes out. That's how it works.
Yeah, so you have to look at things that, where should I do this? And that's where, like I say, here again, financial planning.
Yep.
And you got the 9 steps.
Right. Yeah. Those 9 components are, we feel are the evolution of the path one travels.
Yeah,
And typically, you should have help in every one of those stages. Now, some people want to do it on their own. Again, that's fine. You can. But I'm not going to build my own house. I'll tell you that much.
no,
I can't afford to put up a wall crooked.
exactly. If you, like I say, you don't want to burn your house down by wiring it, even though
Oh,
you
yeah.
could do it. It's not against the law to
That's
wire
right.
your own house.
That's right.
It is to plumb it, but not to wire it.
Yes.
But the thing is, do you want to take that chance?
Right.
Not to mention, even if it doesn't burn down, you might do something that costs you money in the end because you might be using more electricity.
Well, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Right, so-
we see it all the time is if what you thought to be true was not true,
Yeah,
when would you want to know?
right.
If the answer is not immediately, you got to ask yourself why that is not the answer. So it's everyone we all kind of go with blinders on because that's what we don't know anything else. But there can be other solutions. There can be other ways to solve a problem. And again, that's where we look at our job.
Right.
Again, to those that we serve is to put ideas, strategies, concepts right there in the center of that table. And if you're thinking one thing and we come up with another solution that you should consider, and you still want to do what you originally did, well, that's fine. It's your
Right,
life.
Right, yeah,
It's
right. It's your
life.
finances, do whatever you
That's
like.
right. It's your life. But typically, you're coming to someone like myself, a professional in the financial services world, for that advice so that you don't make a mistake.
Right, exactly. I mean, you might think you're doing the right thing and find out later on that it costs you.
Absolutely.
Because if you would have went the other route, but you didn't realize that at the time.
Absolutely.
Because who can unless you do this full time like you do, you can't possibly think of everything.
No. I mean, you can try to Google it,
Yeah.
but even if doing so, it's a lot of generic information.
Yes.
I like to play golf.
Yeah.
So I'll use the analogy of the golfer. I'll pick on Phil Mickelson, who I think is hilarious, is one of my favorite golfers. Does Phil Mickelson go to a tournament in Florida, get off his plane? Where does he go? Does he go right to Dick's Sporting Goods and buy a set of golf clubs off the shelf? No.
No.
Phil Mickelson goes to that tournament with customized clubs to his swing
Yes.
because they're designed just for him. So do you want generic information or customized information
Right.
to help you solve your issue?
He makes his money by playing golf, so he wants the best equipment he can possibly
Absolutely.
have and the best knowledge on how to use
Right.
it.
Customize to him.
Yes,
customized.
right, 'cause that's the thing. And that's the thing, you can't take your financial planning and do it generically. Because we all
You can
have,
try.
different
There'll
needs.
be mistakes along the way. I'm sure. Oh,
What the? I never take this on this.
it's your bat phone calling you.
Come on. Well, it's one of these calls that scam call, and you can't hang them up.
You can't hang them up. No.
It's
No.
unbelievable. They got a system down now. But anyway, yeah. Everybody's individual.
Yeah.
Everybody
correct.
has different needs. Different types of bills. I mean, who knows?
Absolutely. Who knows? Who knows?
So you really need someone to be able to customize your needs to you.
That's right. That's right. I mean, again, you can Google it, but it's not going to be specific to what you're trying to get accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, if you go online, they give you averages.
Oh, sure.
So that's not the way. That's not helping you personally.
No. But so anyway, things are, we've been fortunate over the years with the path that we followed on. Getting back to the community, we feel it's important to give back. Not only do I volunteered, we got current members of our team are volunteering in their communities. We have Peter Bakayaki, who's still on the Open Sky board of directors and has given back many years on various boards. Michael Crotty, who's one of our managing partners, he lives down in the Franklin Rentham area. He's a Little League coach, hockey coach. He's on nonprofit boards in that area, supporting the Rentham Public Schools. So it's many of us, as an organization, doing our best. As a team, we give back with the Owen Carrigan, because that's a Saturday morning that we'll all be there, all hands on deck type thing. But then we all individually are doing our own thing on top of it all.
You find that a local business does a lot for all with community around.
Absolutely.
And people don't realize that. They don't see it.
No. And some people think, well, it's, especially in the financial services world, it's Wall Street. We're the furthest thing from Wall Street. We are truly Main Street. I always envisioned our practice being in a small town, a community like a Millbury or wherever it may be, and just happen to work out that way, but being ingrained in that community, so the people know your names, like they say on Cheers, right? People know your name, know who you are, know what you're known for, and at the end of the day, you live and die on your reputation. So you got to take that to heart, and you got, as long as you do what's right by people, it all should work out in the end.
Any company's been around for 20 years. I mean, you're safe.
Yes, I like to think so, but I'll never rest on that, to be honest with you. You always gotta, you always gotta keep moving forward, I believe.
Right, but I'm saying, you're easy to trust. I mean, you're not going to be gone tomorrow. You've been there for too long.
Yes, correct. Yeah, no, we'll be, raise my kids. My wife's a teacher in Millbury. Yes, we're not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. It's important.
They had their lives disrupted quite a bit this last year.
Oh, have they ever? Have they ever? I feel, you feel for those educators who are on both sides of the coin, from the kids to the teachers, trying to teach remotely and trying to learn remotely. I know as a kid how I was as a student. I would find it extremely difficult.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're getting off subject.
That's okay.
Your wife's a teacher. I'm curious about this, so I ask these questions. How does she find it? How do you know if you're keeping their attention?
Well, she's a first grade teacher, so it's not your, she's dealing with 6-year-olds.
They have a short attention span.
Sure. You got to be creative. She was creative.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite a job to keep them good.
Absolutely, it's creativity. It's making it fun as best you can. Entertaining to a degree.
Yeah.
And entertaining and educational at the same time, which.
I will say this though: first graders today are better on computers than the people
they sure are.
And the adults.
Absolutely. Listen. You give any first grader an iPhone, they most likely know how to use it.
I know, they can text.
Yes, they can shut your phone off.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, it's just the way the world has evolved. That's for sure. That's the way our society is moving more towards that digital age
Yeah.
and beyond.
That's, like, we talked about the fact that people working from home has changed a lot. Office space may become non-existent,
Sure,
but not 100%, but in
we
a
slimmed
lot
down.
of ways.
We definitely will
If-
see it'll be shrunk down.
I'm wondering if teaching's going to change that much too. If eventually they think that we can do this without building huge buildings.
That would be interesting. I would personally disagree.
Yeah.
I think, again, I go back to my own practice. I think having that, especially that initial face-to-face and getting to know people, I think it's so vital. I think again, my own two-bit opinion, but for educators, I think having that in-person, hand-to-hand combat, we'll
Right.
call it, it's not the right word, but you know what I mean? It's so important
But
because,
you're seeing that with higher education.
sure.
I mean, that started even before the
Oh, absolutely.
COVID.
Yep.
I mean, you had people like Phoenix.
Oh, sure. I remember when my middle one was really young. You know, the joke was, and I'm talking 4 or 5 years old, and she'd be like, "Well, I'm going to college right online. I get to stay in my bed all day." Like, no.
It's,
Yeah.
it-
No,
it-
not
but it's
happening.
happened.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
I mean, you're seeing a lot of high advanced university. I mean,
Oh.
popular university, Ivy League schools that are doing it.
Absolutely. No,
And-
it's changing the dynamic. It will change
Yeah.
for higher education. It will change the dynamic how kids learn.
I
No
mean, they
doubt.
offer you a program. They supply you with the laptop. They supply you
Mhm.
with everything, with the printer, everything you need. and
Absolutely.
It's all part of the tuition,
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
and you don't have to pay for room and board.
No, you're right.
But here again, yeah, I'm with you. I think if you can face to face, and if you got a question, you can talk to the instructor, and it's so much different.
It is. No, it absolutely is. I would agree. I would wholeheartedly would agree. So, it's it's an interesting time we all live in,
Yes.
and you can always say that, right? You can always say it, but it is things continuously evolve in industry, in education, and you know, it's you just hope they're moving in the right direction.
But here again, that's where financial planning comes important,
Absolutely.
because with this new age too, it's easier to let you go.
Absolutely.
So, you may be working for a company for 10 years, and all of a sudden they say, well, we don't need you any longer. We found we didn't need that position.
It happens all the time. Happens every day.
Yeah. So now, if you're planning on retiring from there, well, you're not retiring from there now because you're not going to be there anymore. But with the 401s, with the new retirement you actually take your money with you.
Yes, yeah. Your money is your money, and it's
Yeah.
it's attached to you, and off you go. It's important to do something smart with it.
And-
Again, there's no black and white answers there. The averages are you should make sure you take control over it. Some people don't. I see it all the time, and they leave it in a certain 401k for years, and you do what's right for you.
Yes.
But you want to make sure you're making good decisions, and you know where your money is and how it's working for you.
Isn't that now starting to come about? I see it in drips and drabs happening with the healthcare.
Sure.
Yeah, because you were into that too, right?
Yes, we see healthcare as one of especially for those who may retire before age 65. It can be one of the biggest hurdles to overcome.
Right.
It's difficult. It's a
Yeah,
difficult
I was
solution.
able to retire at 52 because they gave me a package, and the package included my health care,
Sure.
which I'm going to be 73, and I still got it. They supplement my
fortunate.
Social Security.
Yeah, fortunate.
I mean, my Medicare. But I'm talking about companies now looking at programs that I've seen where you pay for your own health care you might get through a group,
Hmm.
but then when you go, it stays with you.
Yeah. So we when it comes to healthcare, I've got to be honest. I know enough to be dangerous. I know enough to be dangerous. And so what I mean by that is when we have those situations in hand, we have a number of resources. We coin them internally as our dream team.
Yep.
Our dream team are basically people we know and trust that are experts in those fields. Our dream team consists of attorneys that we know, accountants, plumbers, electricians, landscapers, mortgage professionals, banking relationships. It's, being in business for over 20 plus years, you develop relationships.
Right.
That, and if we come across a situation where we feel listen, and I say it just like that, I know enough to start a fire, I cannot help you put out. And that's exactly how I phrase it. And people get that, they understand what that means. And then I say, you know what, here's a list of attorneys that anyone on this list, we again, people that we know and trust. We suggest you call 2 or 3 of them, get a little feedback from from them, and choose one that you're comfortable with, or by all means choose your own,
Yep.
whatever you'd like. But at this point, in our example, you should speak to an attorney, and
Right.
because you're now again in a situation that whether it be estate planning or selling or dealing with real estate or whatever it may be, or a business establishment, setting up a business, that you need help from a legal professional, an attorney. So again, give them a list, off they go. And that's kind of how so it's, going back to the healthcare thing, we have a number of healthcare experts that
Yeah, 'cause
will
that's quite
lean on.
tricky insurance to deal with.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I know we have to deal with it here for our staff.
Yes.
And it's difficult and extremely expensive.
It's not inexpensive, that's for sure.
Right.
And it is typically healthcare in a business setting is a company's second biggest line item other than salaries.
Right. Yeah. And then again, what type you get? You got to be careful what you buy. You have deductibles. God, it's just
That's why I hit the stop button and say let me
yeah.
suggest you talk to the experts that we have.
Yeah, you really have to be in that field only, and that's it.
I agree. No, I agree. I 100% agree. Because there's a lot of moving parts. But in the end, just like an accountant, an attorney, healthcare, they all kind of intertwine for one's financial picture.
Right.
And it's important that you have kind of the pieces of the puzzle, fitting together versus
Yeah.
not fitting together.
And now with the CARE Act and in Massachusetts, you got a whole different ball game.
Oh, yeah.
So it's you're right. You got to be an attorney or an expert in.
It's confusing. It can be overwhelming and confusing, and I got to be on. I've had again, I call it the dream team. We've had a dream team list. Oh boy, I bet I developed that initially 15, 16 years ago, just because people kept on asking for. I need an accountant. Who do you suggest? Or I need a will. Who do you suggest? And
Yep.
and we just grew it over time. We got printers on there. We have HR consultants on our dream team list. So it's a whole list of people again that we feel it's. You can't be an expert in everything, right?
Right.
Your best is focusing on what you know, and what you don't know, you better find a solution to help you.
Yeah, when you're talking
Fit it.
about, when you get up in years, do you set up a trust? Do you set up what type of trust? And all these things have to be considered because, one day you're going to pass on, and do you leave a mess behind for your children?
I will say the cleaner it is, the better it is.
Yes.
And you're right. We are on the merry-go-round once. It's all we get.
Yeah.
We get the ride. We get the ride it once. Enjoy it along the way.
Yeah.
Be responsible while you're on the ride. But enjoy it.
And then again, life is so fragile. You talk about that young boy that died from food poisoning. Who knows? This me. I usually leave it on the table. I forgot to take it out of my pocket. Who knows what's going to happen?
You never know.
I mean, you can walk out the door and get hit by a car.
Correct. I mean, when you just look over this past year. I mean, sadly, we had a friend of mine who was in his early 60s, a grandfather in Millbury Little League who who started recoaching again his grandchildren, sadly passed from COVID-19. It just happened. It happened very quick. It was so you never know.
Right.
The point is you never know. So preparation is key.
Yeah, long term, you probably, I'm all set, I feel in good health and everything, and then something that didn't exist 2 years ago
Right.
took his life.
Yeah. Everyone feels we're invincible until we hit that wall, right? And then it's like,
Yep.
oh boy, I need to get stuff in order, and I need to do it quickly, because you never know when life is going to throw you that curveball. And
Even little things. My wife and I, we just bought our stone. We bought our grave about 30 years ago,
sure,
which was a good move.
yeah, no one does that anymore either.
No, I know. I mean, we bought it for, I forget how many, hundreds of dollars, probably $300 or $400. Now it costs you about $2,000 or $3,000
Sure.
for a grave.
Sure,
And we just bought the stone, so names on it, everything. The only thing I don't have the date.
that's right. It's
expiration
good.
date.
You don't put that date
No,
on it.
'cause I don't know what that is
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
But
No.
I'm trying to make it as easy on the kids as possible. That's the less they got to do.
Absolutely, yeah, no, absolutely, and so the proper preparation beforehand does make it a lot smoother as part of that legacy planning, right?
Yes.
It's really part of that. People think of legacy planning. Oh, I'm going to leave X number of dollars to my family. Yeah, that can be part of it, but it's also a smooth transition.
Yes.
It's those who you're leaving behind have an understanding of what you want to further continue to see, or wanted to what your wishes were. So it's more than just dollars and cents.
Don't feel bad about going out and planning your funeral.
Right.
Sign up with a funeral director, and then when you tell the kids, hey, here's where I go.
Yep.
Just
Here's
go
the
down and
business
see 'em.
card.
Everything's paid for. Everything's set to go. You don't have to worry about anything.
I can't tell you. We talk about that with, again, those that we work with, and I just tell them, make sure our business card is in all your. Make sure your family knows how to get a hold of me.
Yes.
Knows how to get a hold of our team, and then whatever it is, we'll do our best to take care of it. From what our responsibilities are, right? Obviously, but and people appreciate that, because at the end of the day, it's all you got is what your family is.
I have a list, an envelope in case of death, and I also have in there all my passwords,
Oh, sure, yeah,
because how are they going to get the money out of the bank?
yeah, yeah. In today's day and age, yeah, it's a list of passwords is pretty important.
Yeah. So
It's pretty important.
When you're gone, you can't. Nobody comes back and tells you what to do.
That's right.
So
No, that's
it's a
right.
good idea to have this stuff handy.
Absolutely. We actually have a checklist that we'll use
Yeah.
and to give out. Say, hey, listen, these are some things to think of, and kind of bullet point them and help get your stuff
You have
organized.
to face reality. We're gonna leave this earth one of these days.
Unfortunately and sadly, yes. Again, we're on the merry-go-round once.
Yep.
That's it.
And you don't want to leave a mess behind, because it just makes it tough on the kids.
It does. It does. And what you think is important, oddly enough, may not be important to those you're leaving behind.
Right.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, and it's a good idea to have a will, because you want certain. You can't say, "Well, I knew that he wanted
Yeah.
this one to have
So
this." And
I'm going to just say it's important to have a will with your wishes.
yes,
So what happens is a lot of people don't realize that don't ever do a will. You do have a will. The state of Massachusetts and the general laws, there's guidelines
Yes.
of what your will is.
yeah,
And it follows through a process. If you have not written one up, been notarized,
well, then the probate judge is going to
correct.
decide.
Correct. That's correct.
You're going to have someone that you don't even know deciding where all your possessions are going to go.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely correct. So that's why it's important that there is one written on your behalf that is notarized and done properly,
Yep.
so that
Especially in a case of a husband and wife, who knows if you don't die together? Now what happens?
right.
And if you got several kids, oh my God, the infighting is.
It can get, and sadly, and we've seen it over the years. Obviously, when something like that happens with one of our clients, we take it very seriously. Sleeves up, all hands on deck to make sure we're doing, white glove services. I like to call it, the best we can for those so that it's easy as can be for the family of what we're responsible for.
Yeah,
But if sometimes things aren't buttoned up the right way, Christmas, I like to call it, Christmas can become awkward.
yeah,
You know, and you really want to avoid that.
yeah,
You really do want to avoid that. Now, people say, "What do you mean Christmas is awkward?" Well, Christmas is awkward because you got brother John and brother Bill and brother Larry don't all agree or on the same page with what they want to get accomplished because they all have their own agenda, and now we have infighting and Christmas just became awkward.
yeah,
So you do want to avoid that.
No one's getting together at Christmas.
Correct.
We all hate one another
Yeah.
now.
And that's not what mom and dad intended.
Right.
That was the absolute worst thing that they could have ever imagined.
Yeah, and see, this is all the things that you help out with a financial.
Those are things we talk about, and talk about just
Yeah.
like the way I explained it. To be honest with you, so it's above and beyond.
My point is, it's more the financial planning, this retiring,
Correct.
planning your retirement.
Correct. There's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
There's a lot more other pieces that go, again, that puzzle, right, that has to mesh together. There's many more other pieces that they have to fit.
Yeah, I mean, you almost have to plan your whole life out because it affects a lot of people.
Sure does. Sure does. And, it's important and life changes. So it's
Yeah,
important.
God.
Flexibility is also important.
If you think back, do you think you'd be in the position you're in today 20 yeyears ago? You didn't realize it.
No, 100%. 100%. I can say that personally.
Yeah.
Personally.
Oh,
I can say that.
myself as well. I didn't know where I didn't know where I'd be when I came out of the army, and
Sure.
2 years later I'm married, and 5 years later we got a son. I mean, at times, and I never thought that.
Yep. Yeah. No one ever does. No one
And
ever
I
does.
changed careers, and because you're going through life, opportunities come up, and you say, "Oh, I got to do that," and you never planned on it, but it happened.
No. And when opportunity knocks,
Yeah,
you want to be ready for it.
exactly.
Because otherwise, it's a missed opportunity.
Yes,
And you're kicking yourself back saying, oh, man, I let that just go by and I wasn't prepared for it.
I mean, I know there are some people that can almost plan their life out. Say, when I'm this age, I'm going to buy a house. When I'm this age, I'm going to start a new job. Very few can do that.
Typically, that's not how it works. Typically, as life is being thrown at you,
Yeah,
you're bobbing and weaving,
yeah,
trying to keep your head above water, and just trying to keep moving forward. And from that standpoint, and again, there are certain steps and stones that can elevate you
yeah,
or sink you.
right.
And you want to stay away from the ones that are going to sink you.
Yeah, and that's why I say, finding outside help, advice is always the way to go from
Yeah,
professionals.
I agree.
Yeah, don't go get advice from your uncle. Get it from the professional.
I call it water cooler advice.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't sit around the water cooler
There's
telling
plenty
you.
of that around.
Right, there's plenty of that around. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's
Yeah.
got an opinion. But it's their opinion, and they're not in the weeds of it every day. And, is it best for them or is it best for you? Typically, it's best for the ones giving it, not the ones receiving it.
Right.
Typically, I don't want to say that. I don't want to pigeonhole everybody, obviously, but again, just speaking in generalities and high level. You want to go back to my Phil Mickelson story. You want customized clubs that fit your needs
Yes.
for you, not some other lefty
Right.
golfer. No, for you.
Yeah. Designed by someone who knows.
Who knows? Who knows? Correct. Correct.
But, well, we're running close here, but you want to announce that you got the
Yeah,
the
so
shredding
go
event.
back to the shredding event, May 15th, 8 a.m., 12 p.m.,
that's a Saturday.
Saturday morning at Ray's True Value on Howe
Yeah.
Ave in Millbury. Again, the shredding truck will be on site. We'll be destroying any of your documents right then and there. And it is just documents. In years past, we did electronics also.
Oh,
Unfortunately, due to the current situation of recycling electronics, it just didn't work out this year. So it is just shredding, paper shredding. So right on site, those will be shredded, destroyed, and we kindly ask for a donation of your wish, of your amount, to the Owen Carrigan Memorial Sports
You used to be
Scholarship
able to
Fund.
take your old hard drive down, you could shred that, right?
Yeah, not anymore. So just for us, it's
Right.
just paper, just any type of paper.
That's something to keep in mind. If you've got an old computer, don't just hand it over.
No, it's important. Yeah, your stuff is in there.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that that's being recycled correctly. And
Yes.
a couple years back, we were able to provide a service that did that on the same day, part of this package. Unfortunately, it just didn't allow us to pull that together this year.
There's a problem with hazardous material and things like that.
Correct.
So you got to be careful.
Correct.
I-
But just the old documents, we actually have local companies that will safe up their stuff, we'll call it.
Yeah.
And literally, there's a company next door to Ray's that will drive over a forklift of pallets of stuff we'll shred and do it so they get rid of all their shredding in that one day, and they make a very generous donation.
right.
It's a win-win for all involved. To be
yeah.
honest with you,
Yeah.
it really is.
Yeah, they're getting it at a good rate because it's very expensive to have a company come in and shred.
It can be, it absolutely can be. And for those who have shredders at home, you got to sit there all day,
Oh, my
feeding
God.
one piece of paper after another. It makes a mess. It's just tedious.
Yep.
For this, it's just if your documents are in a brown paper bag, it's even better because we can take the whole paper bag and dump it in.
And then Pellegrino is going to recycle that material.
Yes, so they take it, they wave their magic wand and recycle it wherever they take the stuff. I'm not sure where they take it, but it is all shredded and
Yep.
does get recycled.
No, it goes into recycling. It's actually dissolved and reused recycled
Yes,
paper.
yes, yep, yes,
And
it is.
It's chemically treated. Yeah, no one's ever going to see what was on there.
No one is ever going to see it. Correct, that is correct. No, all documents are absolutely destroyed. And
And you're right. I mean, people keep income tax for years.
oh, it's pretty funny. We've seen some crazy stuff over the years.
And the thing is, what is it? 4 years you need?
7. They
7.
suggest 7 years from the IRS. 7 years. But yeah, we've seen decades.
Yep.
Old documents. I mean, you name it. But we've had again. I find it's a great community event. Great way to see people on a Saturday morning.
yeah.
That you probably haven't seen in over 12 months or so. At
Easy
this
to
point.
get to. Howe Ave,
Howe Ave in Millbury, very easy.
Ray's Hardware.
Yeah, Ray, those guys are super generous and donating the space.
Yep.
Saturday mornings are pretty busy down there, but we got it set up so literally it can be a drive-through. We take the stuff out, you make your donation, and you're gone within 60 seconds if you want
The
to.
hardware store is a place to be on Saturday mornings.
It's sure a very popular place. Ray's does a great job, and
Yeah.
I think, again, another great community supporter.
Yes.
And they have been for years, giving back to the community.
Been there for a long time.
Long time.
He's is it a True Value?
Ray's True Value, yes.
Yeah, which also
Yep.
is a good train.
So, and if those who have questions, feel free to reach out to us. The best way to reach us is simply G9financial.com. G9financial.com is the best way to reach us.
Located right in Millbury.
Located right in Millbury, the Masonic Lodge, center of town, right above the Calabria restaurant.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yep.
And Millbury's changed quite a bit over the
It
years.
is. They're currently doing over the whole entire downtown
Yeah.
area, putting in new sidewalks, new paving. New businesses have come in. There's been a brewery. A&D Pizza has recently changed their area for. So it's good.
We gotta go.
We got to go. We're done.
Thank you, Dan.
That was a quick hour. Thank you, everybody.
We'll see you next week.
Well, bye-bye now.